Hey everyone, Jesse Baxter here, and I am on my way to go see Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. I unironically love the first Maleficent movie, and admittedly it might be mostly because of the visual style, although I really like the story too. I like Angelina Jolie's performance as Maleficent. I like the rapport on screen that she and Elle Fanning have as Maleficent and Aurora. This movie I don't have incredibly high hopes for. I don't think I'm going to love this one in the same way. Just because seeing the trailer, it did look kind of cheesy, and I am excited to see it though, because I'm thinking it might be fun in like an entertainingly bad way. I remember going to see The Lion King, and I sat down in the auditorium, and all of a sudden this trailer popped up for this movie, and I just was laughing at how ridiculous it looked. So going into it, I'm expecting a lot of goofy things. I'm expecting stuff like Angelina Jolie and Michelle Pfeiffer getting into a ridiculous cat fight. I'm expecting plenty of scenes between Maleficent and Aurora where they have the stereotypical rom-com trope of the mother and daughter bickering. I'm expecting... Oh yeah, also they show in the trailer that there's this like species of fairies that look like Maleficent. They're sort of these like human-sized devil fairies with the same wings and the same horns and everything. And so I expect that to be incredibly shoehorned in. And of course, the new look. Yes, that flame cat suit thing, as my thumbnail illustrator so accurately described it. I can't wait for this movie. So, in honor of me returning for, the 327th time, I'd like to coin a new catchphrase. Won't you join me? So I just saw the movie. It wasn't what I expected, that's for sure. So like I said in the intro, I was expecting this movie to pretty much be bad all the way through. And I expected it to be entertainingly bad. You know, because there are some movies out there that, you know, are just so bad on like a technical level, I don't mean on a technical level, more like on a conceptual level for this one. And so I expected it to be that, but the way it's executed sometimes, the way these kind of movies are executed, it's just funny. And you just end up having a good time, even though you're supposed to like take it seriously and all that. And I just, for me, this was a lot more of a mixed bag, just because there are elements in it that I genuinely liked, and there are elements that I, was kind of got emotional about, and but then at the same time, they would have these really stupidly written moments, and so I'm just like, well, can you please choose what you're gonna be? And so I don't end up enjoying it because it's bad, I don't end up enjoying it because it's good. I get a mixed bag, and it just makes me angry. I feel like a lot of these actors really deserved better. They definitely deserved better, because the first third of this movie is rather poorly written, and I don't know whose fault that is. I'm not blaming anyone for that. A lot of things can change in the writing process, and so you have these movies where it's like the original screenplay could have been great, but then the producers on it decide, no, we need to change that, for whatever reason, and they will rewrite the screenplay sometimes, and so you can't pin it on anyone, and you can't really take it from the screenplay credit, because who knows how much their original screenplay was changed. That's kind of what the main problem of it is the writing. And that's kind of what dragged down the first third for me. So even though there was some interesting cinematic storytelling going on. Like, the visual effects are still great. They're a little bit overkill, I think, for this, just because I feel like that was definitely the best element of the first movie. And so for this one, it seems like they're just trying to throw as much whimsy and magic on the screen as they possibly can, so that they can make sure that you are invested. And there are still some great performances in the first third. I think the actor who plays Prince Philip does really well. Elle Fanning as Aurora does really great, and Angelina Jolie as Maleficent does really great. As you can imagine, Prince Philip and Aurora decide to get married. It's in the trailer. They decide to get married. Maleficent is at first opposed to it, and but Aurora says, please just give these human peoples a chance, because this story is about the divide between the Moors and the human kingdom. So Maleficent begrudgingly decides to give it a go and try to entertain court life. And that's another interesting thing about the way that Maleficent is written in this. They write her as though she has a lot of difficulty adapting to society, like she has difficulty talking to people, and she has difficulty with courtly manners and all of that sort of thing. I don't really think that that's who Maleficent is. Maleficent's true nature is graceful and charming, even though she is the villain, And so I feel like, having her go through this weird sort of, I don't know how to act in human situations, is sort of out of character for her, I feel like. So, yeah, without going into spoilers, there's still a lot of issues with the writing in the first third. And the reason I say the first third is because it gets better throughout the film. It really does. It really, picks up, and you start to see where it's going and everything. And the performances, sort of hit it home. And but overall, I feel like the story was very basic, because it's sort of a story about tolerance and acceptance and all of that sort of thing. And, you kind of get that, from the first 10 minutes. You kind of get that that's what we're supposed to take away from this. Yes, tolerance is good. People can coexist. So said pretty much every X-Men movie and modern Disney movie, and a lot of the stuff that your audience, not just the people who have seen a lot of movies, your audience in particular, Disney, has seen and is familiar with as a concept. So I don't think you need a 2-hour movie to hammer it on the head. That's another issue, is that the first movie was 1 hour and 15. And, it was really short, but because it focused on the fairy tale and it focused on the personal aspect between Maleficent and Aurora, which when this film does it, that's some of the best stuff in the movie. But when this film decides that it needs to tell the message of when it needs to tell the tolerance message, that's what should be the focus as opposed to the relationship. And I prefer it when it's about the relationship between Maleficent and Aurora. The thing I dislike the most, beyond the writing, I mean, the writing has to do with it, but it's the villain, which, if you've seen the trailer, you know who it is. It's the Michelle Pfeiffer character, and it's like, okay, I'm down for Michelle Pfeiffer playing this sort of character, playing this woman who decides that she wants to be domineering and controlling, and that she wants to take over another kingdom. So pretty much throughout the whole movie, you're questioning Michelle Pfeiffer's character's personal motivation. And I don't know if we ever get an answer to it. You suppose that her whole thing is pretty much she wants to take over both kingdoms. She wants to have her own kingdom, which is called Alstead, I think, and she wants to take over the Moor. And that's exactly what her motivation is. There's really nothing beyond that. They do try to give her a personal backstory, but it has nothing to do with her motivation. It has nothing to do with her hatred for the fairies. So Michelle Pfeiffer definitely deserved better writing for this character. She did the best with what she had. I don't blame her for her performance at all. I just feel like this character could have been a lot more interesting. And just the second that I saw her, because she's introduced where she's like looking through the weapons. And so I'm kind of like, okay, I'm not quite sure what you're going for here, because she acts nice and and it's supposed to be a reveal that she's the villain later. But you see all this build up to her being the villain now, and it's not subtle at all. You see like the things that she's trying to do, and so they kind of go half and half. We're like, well, let's show them that she's evil, but then pretend it's supposed to be a surprise in the end. And I just don't really see the purpose of that. The toughest question I'm asking myself right now is, did I like the movie or not? Because I'm really not sure. There were so many like good parts that didn't necessarily outweigh the bad parts, but there were enough of them where I can't say I hated it. But at the same time, it wasn't giving me what I expected, and what I expected was to like the movie and for it to be, sort of funny in a bad way. And just sort of like be totally conceptually lost, which I guess you can make the argument that it was, just because the movie is so basic in its message. And like I was trying to say before, it didn't need to be 2 hours long. The truth is, they spend so much time on all of these basic tenements that it really just gets kind of annoying, kind of gets under your skin. So I guess maybe what I want to say about it is I enjoyed watching it. I don't think I would ever really want to sit down and watch the whole thing again. When I think about all of the things that I thought I would laugh at, let's see, some of them were there. A couple of them were there. Let's see. Actually, just one of them, I think, and that is the new look that Maleficent has, which is kind of inescapable, just because we already saw it, and that was kind of the only thing that was wrong with it. It was just how it looked, and yeah, it doesn't really look any better. The thing is, you don't see as much of it as I thought we would in the movie, so that's good, I guess. They don't show it quite as often. It's just that, like, when they revealed it in the trailer, I kind of felt like it was going to be more of a centerpiece in the climax, and it really isn't. Oh yeah, the species of dark fairy people, I liked that. Those were actually some of my favorite parts of the movie, was seeing all of those, like, the dark phase, or what they call them. They're the people with horns and with wings, and that was my favorite part, was seeing all of those, because there's different like versions of them and all of that, and they look really cool, and they have good actors playing those roles, so I thought those were fine. When it came to the bickering between Maleficent and Aurora, it wasn't quite the same as what I thought it would be, so it was really downplayed, and what they showed in the trailer is literally just that scene. It's not really anything else. They get along pretty well following that. Oh yeah, the cat fighting, which isn't really an issue either, because they do so little with the villain that it is kind of disappointing in how little they do. Just because, like, whether they did something great or something awful, I would have been satisfied. So like I said before, I wouldn't sit down and watch this movie again. I enjoyed myself okay when I was watching it. There were some really good moments. Again, whenever you saw like the dark fairies and all of the flying and some of the stuff they do with the visuals is just amazing. And there's some cinematic techniques that I'm just like, oh, it's so good. And then like you hear a really stupid line and you're just like, oh, we're in this kind of movie again, you know? And so ultimately, I think that I'd have to give this one a 6 out of 10. There were things about it that I liked, and I will always relish those things, even if I don't want to hear the lines ever again. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you all so much for watching. It really means a lot. I'm very excited to be bringing you some more content soon. What did you think of Maleficent, Mistress of Evil? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in between? Put your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like this video, be sure to like, maybe even a favorite. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I will see you in the next video. Bye now.